Another home opener in the USL Championship. This comes to you from Leesburg, Virginia, and we welcome you to the pregame show presented by Segra. Loudoun United opens their doors in 2023, coming off a season-opening win to take on the reigning USL Championship winner, San Antonio FC. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, look at the East and the West as it's constituted this year. 12 teams in the East, top 8 will make the postseason. Loudoun United and Louisville City, both perfect starts to the campaign. Louisville did it out west. Loudoun did it with a win against Memphis last week. While out west, San Diego and New Mexico will take flight later tonight, and all eyes on San Antonio trying to regain the top spot in the Western Conference, a spot they held all of last year. For Loudoun United, things are going to feel a little bit different this year, and that's good news. Attain Sports and Entertainment acquired a controlling ownership stake at the beginning of February, but the plans have been in motion for over 6 months. Greg Baroni now represents the club on the USL Board of Directors, the CEO and managing general partner of Attain Sports and Entertainment, and now they'll be part of the Open Cup. But Devin, they're also going to be a part of trying to compete for a title, whereas it used to be about the development for DC United players. We're going to get a chance to see this new ownership and a new roster try and hit new heights.
Let's be clear, though, the relationship with DC United is still there, and what facet remains to be seen. Now, the loan rules look a little bit different this year. Expect to see more season-long loans for players that are part of both organizations. Guys like Jeremy Garay, an opportunity to continue development. Ryan Martin, though, is the best at all of that. Even though he only has 6 returning players, the 16 new guys he's bringing in do have USL Championship experience. But the experience from Ryan Martin is what you really want to focus in on here. Part of a national title winner with Wake Forest and Jay Vidovich back in 2007. He helped assemble the then John Harkes FC Cincinnati team that made it all the way to the semifinal of our Open Cup. He was the Academy director that's produced names like Jeremy Garay, Moses Nyman, Ted Kudu-Pietro, Jackson Hopkins that have competed both domestically with DC United and abroad in Europe's top 5. If there is going to be change and there is going to be greatness, expect that Ryan Martin is going to be at the helm leading the way.
Excited to see what Ryan Martin and this team can do this year, but they get the toughest buck in the league to try and stop San Antonio FC, the best defense in the league last year. Jordan Farr was the goalkeeper of the year. Mitchell Tainer was the defender of the year. They're both back.
Be careful, by the way, because the biggest talking point for this team, they're uncomfortable about how comfortable they are. They returned 21 players. Understand that you've got about 6 to 8 academy loanees in that argument, but they said the biggest difference between 2022 and 2023 is that guys are ready, they're motivated, they've been around each other, and of course, Alan Marcino went out, and he got a striker, and he got more guys like Ja'Cory Harris to add to the midfield trio. All you have to know about San Antonio is they're going to be good every single season. They've added layers to it, but the question is going to be, can they break the recent trend? Previously, you win a title, things looked good for you the next season. Louisville goes and wins another title. Red Bull 2 made it all the way back to the final. How about Orange County, though, and the Monarchs? 2 out of the last 3, because we didn't have a title winner in 2020, final never played, didn't even make the playoffs. So as good as San Antonio performed last season, it's the dawn of a new day. It's 2023, and we got a lot more to put underneath the belt before they can add another star above the crest.
All right, we're ready to roll in Leesburg, Virginia. Today's pregame show brought to you by Segra. We've got lineups and kickoff coming up on the other side of the break. It's a red out for San Antonio trying to quiet this excited Loudoun crowd. Kickoff when we return to Leesburg.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
Our pregame show is presented by Segra, and it concludes now as kickoff approaches on a windy and chilly day in Leesburg, Virginia. Loudoun United and San Antonio FC. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, let's get you caught up on the lineup news. Ryan Martin has made one change, and it comes in goal as Jacquemin gets his first start of the year. The rest of the 18, rest of the 11, unchanged.
The biggest change, though, is tactically. This team was very comfortable with themselves in week one. A lot of rotation from the outside mids tucking in. The way that you're going to see the two strikers up top in that system, it can look like a 1-1 stacked at times. Very comfortable moving forward. But with the amount of bodies that's going to be thrown forward at them, I look at the pressure up top in Zach Ryan, because he's going to be the key to all this. He's going to create opportunities off of Tommy Williamson, but he's also going to be the first line of confrontation defensively. Last week, he was brilliant. 2 goals, 1 assist in that win against Memphis, 3-1 overall. That's the guy you want to keep an eye on tonight for Loudoun United.
And our player to watch presented by Betfred. Meanwhile, for San Antonio FC, Alan Marcina has made 2 changes. They do not have David Loera or Nico Hansen, the newcomer, available to them, so it is a Kamarni Smith homecoming.
You still talk about the returning of players. We gave you a glimpse of that in the open. Back 3 stays the same. Shannon Gomez and Connor Maloney, great on the outside. The balance between Ja'Cory Hayes and PC, utter brilliance in week 1. The front line, though, Kamarni Smith, Bailoni, which sides are they going to line up on? That front 3 is going to be very fluid in the way that they attack this game, all 3 of which capable on any location and the attacking third.
Zach Ryan will do the honors to kick off the home season for Loudoun United. And we wait for the opening whistle. New owner, new hopes, new ambitions for Loudoun United. And they take on the best in the league, San Antonio FC, week 2. And this Sunday afternoon game underway between 2 sides coming off season opening victories. Pressure early. It was Dylan helping to take it away, out to Samake, and he gives it back. Well, San Antonio, we talked about it, Dev, at the USL Championship final between San Antonio and Louisville last year. It has not changed. They believe in verticality. They can be so brutally efficient. They win the ball high up the field, and then they quickly get it in your net.
Let's be clear, it's not everybody's cup of tea, is it? You know, having the discussion with Mitchell Tainer, the 2022 Defender of the Year, on that back 3 for San Antonio, I said point blank to him, I go, look, if I was starting a team and I was setting them up, it's not the way that I would want to play, but that doesn't mean I don't respect it, nor do teams around the league. They understand that this is groundbreaking of sorts.
Ball in behind and caught by Jacquemin.
Yes, it's much more direct. Yes, they remove some of the beautiful parts of the game, but that's just in their eyes. Beauty is literally in the eye of the beholder in this situation. They just go about it in a different fashion. So you'll see them point A to B much quicker. High line, turnovers, defensive pressure, you name it.
Smith with a delivery that's back to Hayes. Hayes, save from Jacquemin. San Antonio, 100 seconds in, has already taken the ball from Loudoun on 3 different occasions. Today's keys to the game are presented by Country Buick GMC of Leesburg. That ball movement needs to be crisper now.
You can't win the physical battle against San Antonio if you're Loudoun United. That's not a knock on them. It's simple. Their average age is much younger. The physique is different than a lot of the guys that are situated in the red jerseys here this afternoon. And so you got to put the ball on the deck or go direct up over the top, but be quick with it and be efficient for sure. A to B to C, so on and so forth. If you're San Antonio, don't change a thing. Wash, rinse, repeat. It served you quite well in 2022. Run it back in 23.
Bailoni knocked off the ball. Throw for San Antonio. Bailoni coming off a 6-goal campaign in just 824 minutes. Into the feet of Bailoni. Well, that wind is whipping the flags behind goal directly back into the stands. And Loudoun again cedes possession to San Antonio. Really inauspicious start for Loudoun, who are attempting to play directly into this wind. another San Antonio throw. PC, Maloney, got by Rocha. PC going end line, taken away by Learman. The Frenchman out of pit. PC. PC. Well, that cross won't quite get the same assistance that Lamar Batista got last week. Throw here for San Antonio. Gomez. Down to Bialoni. Twisting free.
That was a dive.
Appeals for a penalty. This is going to be merely a goal kick. Steered down by Garcia. 5 minutes in, Loudoun hasn't strung together more than a pass or two in a row. And that continues.
Bring it up, Loudoun!
Into space, Maloney.
He ran into
Not run over. Tommy Williamson. That's a really compelling front two that Loudoun's put together. Zach Ryan and Tommy Williamson. Along with Panos Armanakis, the 24-year-old Californian, Greek, Australian player.
Go figure. That was in the bingo box, right?
You sure?
Well, I had a little joke with you prior to the match because I had already had the ability to go and break down Loudoun's first match in that 3-1 victory against Memphis, but I hadn't done all of the new players' bios, and you're running through questions with Ryan Martin. You bring it up, and I'm looking up and down my board going, wait, who are you talking about here? It was certainly fun on my ride to the north, going through the background of everybody, and you got an understanding of the pedigree that is possessed by Armanakis on that right-hand side. A lot of guys with an international flair for this Loudoun United squad.
Dos Santos couldn't keep that in. It remains with Maloney and San Antonio. Dev, how do you break this if you're Loudoun? San Antonio has been all over them from the jump, or is this just how the 90 minutes are going to go as Maloney toward the box and the header away now gets launched out?
Well, this is the MO from San Antonio of 2022, right? The high line defensively is there. When they do turn it over, they look for two things: immediate pressure or the physical prowess to be able to push you off of your game. So quick distribution coming off, and then you have to move that line much faster. That first ball out is great, but then it's got to be a second and a third. And the problem is once you think you've gotten out, even if you move into the defensive third of San Antonio, you're not done, because it literally continues to go round and round for a 90-minute cycle. That's why very few teams last season had the ability to break this team down. Only 5 losses overall in the season, one of which occurred at home. So this team was still pretty good away from Toyota Field. 4 losses, tied for one of the best away records in the entire USL Championship. It's a phrase used all too commonly that you have to stay switched on, Mike. Trust me, there are teams in this league you can get away with it in, where you can step off a little bit and be able to continue to play. That's not the case against San Antonio.
Smith, that's blocked. PC, slide tackle.
Yeah. Come on, Loudoun! Man, his pride's hurt. Bring it up! Not a head injury, so you don't have to stop. Bring it up! Not a head injury.
They bring play back. A potential head injury is the shout from the sideline. But PC went into that tackle and may have hit his head coming to the ground. San Antonio without 5 players. They've actually dressed 3 USL Academy signings for this game on the East Coast. And this is not what you want to see. PC finally played the majority of the season. It felt like he'd been so snake bit by injuries in recent years.
Well, the entire team itself really struggled with injuries from start to finish, really since Alan Marcina took over. That's not a knock on him. It's just been the way of the warrior for these mentality monsters as they've come to brand and we've knowingly loved over the past couple of seasons.
Dev, can I ask you the number of injuries they've dealt with, to what extent does that actually pertain to that style of play? Is it conducive to staying healthy, or is the nature of that physicality almost beg those injuries to occur? And then you have to learn how to manage through that and maintain the way you want to play.
Well, real quick, the sign from Connor Maloney right there is the fact that they're going to need a change for PC, which does not bode well for San Antonio or this squad on the road 10 minutes in. Not a good look. The answer, Mike, is yes, it's not conducive whatsoever. The problem is you take the human body and just beat it into submission, for lack of better terminology. It's the way of this warrior, right? And so when you play such a high regimen, you go 1,000,000 miles an hour, it's nonstop. They call it mentality monsters because it's a never say die attitude, right? You lose the ball, you win it back by hook or by crook. It's physical, it's aggressive, it's in your face. We don't need the ball, but we'll take it from you anytime we want. That demand that you put on the body, it causes issues. I would also add that yes, the team itself has had some really unfortunate luck. You couldn't control Christian Perano's knee injury, right, on loan or not. Exactly. That had nothing to do with this system. But yes, it does have a toll on these players, and you do see them start to compile. The real thing is at the beginning of the year when you're dealing with it. Because guys, in the offseason, you're in a lose-lose. You experience it all season long. You think you're going to get a reprieve, but then when you come back into preseason, the body starts to kick into overdrive, and you're right back where you left off.
So PC put his hand up on 2 occasions. After signaling for the sub, Maloney asked to wait. Then PC gave him the captain's armband, which he's now affixed to that bicep. Now they're giving a thumbs up to the sideline that maybe PC can continue. There's already been a discussion with the 4th about making a change. Figure out where it all lands. But for now, San Antonio's got 10 on the field.
Come on! Come on, Loudoun!
Hung up on the turf, ball through. Maybe a chance here for Loudoun. And a save from Jordan Farr.
And a guy!
Zach Ryan denied.
Come on, Loudoun!
Seemingly came out of nothing, and Maloney fires this downfield with the help of the wind. And Bailoni got pushed out. And Jacobin plays it forward. PC being held by the 4th, the thumbs up from PC. And that's very good news for San Antonio. He's maybe got a little hitch in his gait, but he is going to stay, and the sub did not occur.
Be on the lookout for Loudoun United items being tossed in the crowd, and let's get loud for your red and white.
Oh, Loudoun! Oh, Loudoun!
Ball slips under Tainter and bashed off of El Medcar. Samake.
Good idea. And that's why he shouldn't have gone back in. No, it's the same guy. That's the reason why the trainer told him that the coaches no.
Well, PC's still dealing with it. the sub may come after all.
That has a save by Jordan Farr in the meantime, though. You go down a man, PC hasn't come back onto the field. That right there was the moment that I was talking about for Loudoun United, where you spring yourself up high, you finally get a glimpse of what could be, but that's where you have to finish it. The mark of a good team versus a great. And the greatness on full display by Jordan Farr in goal. Stepping up in as Zach Ryan made himself quite at home inside the top of the 18.
Substitution brought to you by Segra. That's PC off, Muhammad Abu on.
Substitutions are brought to you by Segra.
And Dev, in theory, it's Abu and it's Zico Bailey, who they just signed. Spent the last 3 years at FC Cincinnati. And a handful of guys from the academy. They don't have a full 18 today. They just use their depth right there.
A friendly reminder that Zico Bailey, defender by trade, that they're working into the midfield at San Antonio.
Right.
Muhammad Abu is already on a minute clock anyway. They were limiting his usage because he's coming back from an injury and wanted to slowly integrate him back into a full 90 minutes. They did not expect a half to use that card so early. And now another one. Hiloni down once again.
Collision of heads, and the ball falls out of the air right into the face of Ignacio Bailoni. Arrived in May last year from Croatia. Been with San Antonio in 2020, but doubled his goal production year over year. Well, San Antonio has had the vast majority of this game. Loudoun has the best chance. San Antonio's the team that's had to use a sub. Back heel, continued by Elmedkar. Samake. Off of Batista, who signed a 25-day deal. Second straight year in which he played for a team that the following season would fold or go on hiatus. Oklahoma City and Rochester, New York FC.
It was forearm just positioning, and he ran into it.
Armenakis. Panos Armenakis again. Headers up toward Gomez.
Bring it in.
Rocha. Chance to reset. Far waits and collects it at the high point. Kept by Elmedkar. Feels that Batista is a tad too physical in that moment. That goes unheard. Santos.
Oh, he just kicked us. Really?
Samake kept it. Good challenge to Smith, his former teammate. Armenakis kept it moving. That's Santos.
Help him!
Maloney pushed him back.
It's interesting tactically the reserved nature that we're seeing from Shannon Gomez out on this right-hand side. Little flip-flop. He and Connor Maloney will see that frequent throughout the course of the season, certainly within this match. Gomez on the left side last time. And their week one win, and Connor Maloney on the right side. But as he comes a little bit deeper, they pivot almost into a 4 at times, Mike. And as they do that, Camardi Smith is the role that I'm looking in front of him, because as he comes, he's starting to pinch to the inside a little bit. I told you coming into the game, Keep an eye on the front three and what that setup exactly looks like. Right now, Dylan and Nacho Bailoni shifting into really a two-headed monster. It's allowing Camardi Smith to wander a little bit, and the speed could be on full display. The problem they're running into is a lot of it is actually working to the opposite side of the field in its open nature, and they haven't been able to link up with them.
It's on their half. It's on their half. Keep going. You got 5 feet back.
Gomez.
On.
Ryan held up play well. Santos. Samake.
17.
Referee contemplated the foul, play on. The advantage broke down. Rocha. Santos. Armanakis.
Beautiful.
Through ball lays through. Shot is on, and Farr got his hand out. Deflects it. A Loudoun corner, 20 minutes in, and somewhat remarkably, Loudoun has the 2 best chances of the game. It was Williamson now.
Has the save.
Greg Baroni and his partner, Jason Levian.
Tremendous save. That's El Medcar. Taken from distance, ricochets around. Short of the halfway line, Landry. Armanakis. Another ball in behind that back line. This is Zach Ryan.
Yeah, now you just stay high here.
Armanakis. Samake. And a foul from Landry.
Hey! Hey! Shut up!
Over the top, falls here for Jacquemin. A game last year at Loudoun, couple in Charlotte in League One. That's it.
That's the response that you're looking for, though, right? If you're Loudoun United. Sorry to step in front of you, Mike, but it's a much better response from the home squad, and that's the thing that you have to do. It's not fire with fire, right? But once you get high, you have to stay high. And if you do turn over immediately, you don't retreat back. You just have to find your shape. That's where San Antonio gets you at their best. They push you off your game. Everybody moves into an unnatural position. You feel like you can have this free-flowing nature that you did against Memphis, but then all of a sudden, you're trying to revert back to square one, trying to find a way to get back to basics. It's a good reset for Loudoun over the past couple of minutes.
Push in the back!
Abu. Maloney. Garners the captain's armband now. That's Osu Landry. And kicked away by Fabian Garcia. It's kind of amazing seeing Batista take 30 yards of space to try and close down anything that could come out of that midfield, and Garcia slipping over to fill the space that's vacated.
A friendly reminder, that was a look all too frequent last season for Mitchell Tainter on the left side of the back three. He, of course, situated on the right side of what's a 3 or 5 at times. They're such good defensively, San Antonio, providing coverage for each other, and it's not just the back line and their defensive shape. It's what are the wingbacks doing, the midfielders dropping back in. Hello.
Cross to El Medkar, lays that back, and it's blasted away before Samake could make contact. There's Tainter to the rescue.
But as they chase, watch the space centrally. Ja'Cory Hayes, as he comes back over. Remember I talked about Kamarni Smith coming back into that central spot, a little bit off that front line. Defensively, just got to tighten it up. That's why the space is available to come direct back through and get a chance off.
Sent from distance and far with a dive, but it's well off the frame from Koa Santos.
Go to guy, Loudoun!
Well, good to see and hear some of the Loudoun faithful we know from the past still in the building, Dev. That ever familiar push to go on, Loudoun. Let's go, Loudoun.
Yeah, the atmosphere is certainly not as barren as some of the trees in the background. Mother Nature's already done her work.
No, you spent some time up in the DC area here a few weeks ago. It's not quite blossom season.
No, though they talk about it. I'm no weatherman. Al Roker taught me a little bit.
I mean.
But they were talking about how the cherry blossoms, because of the weather and the way that things were going to work, that the season was going to be shorter. They're almost hibernating, which was kind of interesting to see. You're running up and down the mall, or at least I was.
You did, yeah.
For my little afternoon run, and you couldn't see anything. And Ryan Martin and his lovely wife explained it to me. I, of course, was trying to take notes, but I left my pen and paper at home.
You did. Well, it's a Boo that will drive this with the wind at his back. I never really bent the way he'd hoped. And flicked onward by Armenakis. And shimmying through midfield. Dominant tackle slows it, but does come with a whistle. And Loudoun will play through. San Antonio, going back to last year, has scored in the first half of 6 consecutive games. If, to be fair, scored the second half of 7 consecutive games. Samake, El Medkar, got behind Tainter. Ricocheted twice. It's Maloney a long way out. Rocha kept it alive. Santos rolls it forward. Armenakis curls this around Batista and far takes it in. And sends this flying. Dillon got caught flat-footed, changing direction. Him and last year was Sam Adeniran, who came in on loan from Seattle. Those are some big guys.
And not just the fact that their physical dominance was there, they're tactful with the ball. They can play with it at their feet. Back to goal, ball out in space, running. Saw it so many times, and it's something that you're going to have to work through. You know, right now, as we're looking at the beginning of this season for the reigning champs, Sam Adeniran takes off to St. Louis City SC in MLS. Of course, Santiago Patino, a couple of triumphs abroad, made his home recently in Brazil. Christian Pirano injured. You're looking at an attacking front that's very different than the squad that won the title, and yet they're still finding success, and that's what this team is about. You listen to some of the conversations behind the scenes, they don't really care if they have that one guy. They're sort of built to have, you know, 7, 8 goal scorers that are going to get you 5 or 6 goals. They don't feel that they need to have someone or even 2 players that are going to push double digits. That being said, they do feel on that attacking front, Nacho Bailoni could be the guy. If they get him enough repetitions, they feel the skill level is there, that they could end up grabbing 12 to 15 goals out of him. It's an interesting stretch for me, but the difference is it's hard to equate that based upon the sample size that we've seen so far, because he was behind everybody else.
He had 6 goals in 824 minutes. Top-tier attacking player will get anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500, typically. If he finds a way to get 15 goals, that is a huge outcome, and in theory would match his production from last year with more minutes.
And you add in Justin Dillon, who can play anywhere on the front line, depending on what the attacking shape looks like within the midfield. Kamarni Smith into the mix. You know, you've added depth in the midfield in Ja'Cory Hayes, which allows your wing backs to get higher. And yet, as we're talking, the darlings of the 2023 USL Championship, Loudoun certainly have created their own opportunities. Took down Memphis, a team that finished just behind Louisville City, second in the Eastern Conference last season. Stumbling out of the gates this year, courtesy of one Ryan Martin's team, week 1.
And they felt like they dominated that game, too, on the whole. Made a mistake along the way that led to a goal, and certainly you need some breaks to go your way to go to Memphis and get that gaudy a result scoreline-wise. 3-1 didn't happen to Memphis very much last year.
At risk of getting myself in trouble for a future dinner date with Ryan Martin, I'd politely disagree. But,
okay.
But that's the opinion side of it, right? I mean, if you create a ton of opportunities, go finish them, and then you're not necessarily the dominant team the rest of the way, can you argue? Because you've done your job.
Yep. 2 goals in the first 15 minutes. That'll set quite the tone.
This is the type of game, though, that being so young, it does test you, because, you know, you were on the ropes early on. Great job mentally and physically to get back into this game. You've created chances, haven't finished. How long can you maintain it? And if you don't nick one right away, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 80 minutes. And the team in red has proven that they can do that. That was pretty much the entire part of their arsenal last season. Can Ryan Martin and Loudoun United, even though it's at home in week 2, can they maintain that type of pressure and go find themselves a goal?
Well, Loudoun was, if not the youngest, close to it last year. One of the lowest budgets in the league, as you'd anticipate. Ball's going to bounce down to a boo. And Jacquemin able to yank this in. And with that came some of those mistakes. First 10 minutes, the Loudoun team that we knew the past 3-4 years would have conceded a goal there under that much pressure. And maybe that's the turning of a leaf here, that they were able to just hang in long enough that they could start to turn the tide a little bit. You know what I feel bad about? The ball itself. This thing is fluttering like a knuckleball through the air. That's a foul. The select ball that's about to be put in play is the official match ball of the USL Championship. Select, the official match ball supplier for the championship, many elite leagues throughout Europe. SelectSportAmerica.com for the latest Select product special offers and more. Select, the player's choice.
Look at all the space right at the top of the 18. Not necessarily sure you're going to see Connor Maloney or Shannon Gomez step into it, but it's there.
Abu. Loudoun getting back up, and Jacquemin ends any threat from San Antonio in the moment.
Nice.
Isn't there for Williamson.
Thank you.
Sprayed aside by Ryan. And through now for Williamson.
Corner.
Loudoun corner past the half-hour mark. In the Loudoun home opener, San Antonio on the road for the first time after their clearly jacked mayor carried the trophy onto the field last week. This is swinging in, and there's Farr. It's quite the atmosphere last week, Dev. You and I got a taste of that at the final last year, San Antonio. It's going to bounce off the back of Gomez, and luckily he's aware of where that ricocheted. Play on, that's a clean tackle in from behind. Turner. And now Armenakis. There's space again, Ryan. Ryan! Zach Ryan! His third of the season in the first 2 weeks. And Loudoun leads at home over the reigning champion.
Credit where it's due to Armenakis. And the way that he situated himself within the midfield, that's your right winger. Look how close in proximity he is to the rest of the midfield. Maiden Rocha, Husu, Landry, eyes open the entire time. Quickly off the restart from the sideline as you move through. Then it becomes about the run from Zach Ryan. Tommy Williamson had come to the near side. Ryan goes to the far side, drags the back line with him as the space opens up. Perfect first touch, even better finish, and the lead.
35th minute, Loudoun ahead of San Antonio. This will be a Loudoun free kick. Stat of interest, Dev. Try and put this in perspective in some way for me. San Antonio, when they score first, which of course not the case today, 46 unbeaten. That's the importance of the opening goal if you're Loudoun.
And they're right back at it as well. Much cleaner on the ball, Loudoun, as this first half has progressed. Doing a really good job centrally, bypassing the pressure from Ja'Cory Hayes and Mohamed Abu, who are having a hard time playing in conjunction with each other. They've changed the shape a little bit, and Mohamed Abu has come to the top part of that argument. But he's just pinching off of that left-hand shoulder. As he comes high, we don't see Camardi Smith dropping as much to the middle as we did really up to the sub. That saw PC depart this match. And so because of it, there's so much space that's just being run right through for Loudoun United. Armenakis doing a good job. El Medkar involved. Of course, Zach Ryan, the recipient of the beautiful ball through and the go-ahead goal. Tommy Williamson as well. Excellently done so far by the home squad.
Watching.
Brilliant Williamson. If it stays in for El Medkar. Tainter got there, now he's under it again. Muscled away. With Loudoun once more. 8 wins all of last year. After 5 between 2020 and 2021 combined. Looking to start 2-0. Dev, the wind has been pushing away from the goalkeeper on this end. If you're Armenakis, where are you trying to steer this?
Well, the idea in general is move it away from the goalkeeper, but the problem you're going to work here is the back line is so big. Mitchell Tainter, 6'1". Fabian Garcia, just under 6 foot. Batista, 6'1". Jordan Farr, 6'2". You got to push it right around the penalty mark if you want any sort of chance.
Armenakis, that sailed right over Farr. And will skip out. You know, Dev, you and I had a chance to talk to Jordan Farr at the final last year, wins goalkeeper of the year. He almost retired. I mean, this is a player that really contemplated what his future was, whether they wanted to pick up and move again, what the plan in San Antonio was for him after he came in as a last-minute emergency loanee in the 2021 playoffs from Indy 11. He was busy receiving a golden corn dog. He's told, hey, pack your bags. You're in the playoffs.
I mean, you're obviously tracking back a couple of seasons in reference to the retirement, but 100% funny how things turn around that quickly. All of a sudden being talked about as one of the better goalkeepers in the USL Championship. Certainly had a splendid season last year.
Served over Smith.
Bring it up!
It's funny with goalkeepers, until you give them a chance, you never really know, but giving a goalkeeper a chance is always such a risk.
He knew it was offside. Good job, Brian. Good job. Hand raise it. I'm offside, so I'm not touching it. I'm being part of the play. I'm walking back.
Loney couldn't handle that off the bounce. Well, we're seeing some skill here from this Loudoun team that's pretty enticing. It's Armanakis winning the free kick. You know, we gave a lot of credit for the ability of former Bethlehem Steel coach Brendan Burke to go to Colorado Springs and finally get his chance to run an independent team. Didn't have the biggest budget, but was able to take advantage of all the connections he had made in Bethlehem and around the league. Put together a really good roster.
Nice!
Taken away from Kamarni Smith. You wonder if maybe Ryan Martin could tap into that same kind of impressive network of previous scouting within the league to pick off some ambitious young players to be excited about. Dylan's onside. He had to wait for it, though. It checked up. Dylan sucked in 4 Loudoun players to that minute area. Set by Batista, who's looking for his 3rd of the season, believe it or not. You ever think Lamar Batista just missed his calling as an out-and-out striker?
No.
Okay.
Let's get that one out of the way.
Dylan. That's shocking to picking it up.
Certainly wouldn't know that by his performance in week 1, though. One of which sure will seemed like the spectacular makeshift bicycle. Off the corner kick, a little reach around. How's that move for you?
Just slips free, and Tainter scoops it up and starts it the other way. The other was a Schross. Gone very right. Again, they've sent Dylan. Dylan on the first time! Well, finally has been able to steer something toward the target. He didn't miss it by all that much.
It's smartly done, though, by Justin Dillon as this ball comes back over. Almost everybody in the stadium, myself included, expects him to hold this ball up and let for reinforcements to come. Watch him peek over his shoulder, though. As the run comes back through, he had a little look over the left-hand side as he starts to make the diagonal to the top of the box. He knows where the pressure's coming from. It's just on the backside of him. The recovery run by Cole Turner knows that he's got enough space and almost picks out that far post.
San Diego and Phoenix meet for the first time in less than a month span. Their entire season series being played before the 2nd week of April is complete. Game is less than 2 hours from kickoff on ESPN Plus, another of the perfect teams. Both these teams starting 1-0. San Antonio trying to pull level before the half and a Loudoun foul. At halftime, Dev, you think you could throw some spicy takes down on the power rankings, or is it too soon?
I'm ready.
It's never too soon.
No, let's heat that. Let's heat it up. Why not? Throw some kindling on there. Not necessarily sure we're going to set their fire ablaze week 2, but we can certainly have a little fun with week 1.
Sure, why not? Full pirouette. They contemplated letting that play through. It wasn't on for Zach Ryan.
The bigger concern here is obviously for San Antonio, and it's not just a 1-0 lead that Loudoun has on them. It's when you look down the bench, it doesn't look too great. And that's not a knock on the players that are sitting there, but you got Daziel Osuna, Eduardo Fernandez, Mateo Gonzalez, all Academy players, all that made the trip. But really, it was anticipatory just to have bodies to help fill the bench out. That's all that was about. They didn't expect to have to be able to dig in the way that they've gone so far because of an injury. The other two players, Carlos Mercado, backup goalkeeper. And then you've got the young man they just acquired, Zico Bailey, who at this point in time is a makeshift midfielder from what we're hearing during the training sessions with San Antonio. Options limited for sure for the reigning champs on the road.
Especially down a goal. That's going to go wayward. Carter Manley, defender, out today with a lower body injury. David Luera is out with a lower body injury. Christian Pirano remains out. And then Nico Hansen and Juan Carlos Azocar both missing today due to personal reasons. And then PC gets injured less than 15 minutes into this game, tried to stay on. And you just know the captain knew if he could give any more time. Ball for Smith. And the combination that led to the cross led to an offside position for Bailoni. I mean, San Antonio trying to take the mentality monster concept and at least manage another few minutes before having to throw a boo into the fire. On to first half stoppage time, 3 added minutes.
Stoppage time is brought to you by Novak.
Come on, Loudoun!
This could be a card. Watch out here for Lamar Batista. Just overextends himself. Great ball movement on that right-hand side. Armanakis recognizes the fact that Coa Santos, if he delays this, he's going to get some support coming over the right shoulder. Maloney knows that he's got weak side help from Batista, but Batista, is late to recognize it. So he sits there, just holds serve to make sure the ball doesn't come back to the middle. And then as Batista comes in late, gets caught up. This is still one of the more difficult things to do, is go and beat this team in the air. I like the idea of some trickery to mess with the shape overall of San Antonio. The balls that we've seen knocked in so far have been very difficult for Loudoun to get on the end of.
Armanakis has been the set piece specialist. Continues now. 2 waves at it, and San Antonio's got it clear halfway through stoppage time.
Come on, Loudoun!
Turner, Williamson, and Gomez met it. Still it's Landry. Pressure from Bailoni. And Batista will run this out along with Ryan.
Let's go! Jordan! Come on, Loudoun! Bring it up!
Samake and Gomez tied up. It's going to go against Gausu Samake. Dev, if you're San Antonio, how much are you changing at halftime? And how much do either of these teams adjust the game plan itself, knowing that the wind has been so strongly in one north-south direction? As this gets launched. And Loudoun dealt with the first ball, leading Armanakis. And to see it taken back by Ja'Cory Hayes.
If you're Loudoun, you're not necessarily going to overcommit for the preparation that should be for the second 45 minutes. They're allowing their outside midfielders to come in, help with possession. They are relying on Samake and Santos, the outside backs, coming off the back line to help provide strength and numbers from the outside. But it's challenging the shape from San Antonio. And because of the influx of play that we saw from the reigning champs in the first half, the injury to PC, Mohamed Abu coming off the bench, it's not seamless anymore. Right now, they are disjointed in nature. This is the perfect spot for Alan Marcina to calm his guys down and say, listen, let's just hit the reset button. We are more than capable of getting back into this game. The opening 10 minutes, they were great. Let's get back to that. Visionaries in their own right, but haven't seen that for quite some time in this first half.
Loudoun United with this new era kicking off on home ground. Get the opening goal in their home opener as they did to the championship season this year. A physical first half match. PC leaves due to injury. Zach Ryan delights the home fans for the first time. Loudoun 1, San Antonio nothing at the break.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
Welcome back to Leesburg. Loudoun United taking on San Antonio FC on this Sunday afternoon. Mike and Devin back with you. Let's take a look at today's player spotlight. It's forward Zach Ryan, 4-year letterman at Stanford, signed with Loudoun United ahead of this season. He spent 2022 with MLS's New York Red Bulls. As a homegrown player, he made his MLS debut against Toronto FC on March 5th of 2022, a 6'1" forward. He made 2 appearances for the Red Bulls in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup last year, including a win against DC United. He got his first career Open Cup goal in that competition. His red and white debut March 11th last week. Ryan recorded 2 goals and an assist against Memphis 901 FC, named to the USL Championship Team of the Week for Week 1. Speaking of Week 1, Devin, let's take a look at some of the scores of note. Any real surprises here other than, a lot of people were surprised by the Memphis-Loudoun score, but Memphis with a new coach, Loudoun with a little exuberance about them, I wasn't necessarily shocked.
Wasn't surprised at the scoreline. I would say I was more surprised in the fashion in which it was done so quickly by Loudoun at the beginning of the game. Memphis did have their opportunities. My eyes veer towards the bottom left side. History made by Cameron Lancaster, 3rd player in USL Championship history to hit 75 regular season goals. He, by the way, to qualify, you have to have 50 regular season goals in this category, but he leads in the best scoring rate among forwards, a goal every 107 minutes. Some would say that is good. I still go back to San Antonio, though. San Antonio right out of the gate, although different personnel, not necessarily in a different fashion, they didn't look a shell of themselves. They look like the exact team that took down the title at the end of 2022 against Louisville City, dismantling Oakland Roots 3-1.
And that's why they're in first place in the USL Championship power rankings.
Yeah, it's an easy one there. I agree with the Lou City one. Now let's have a little fun as we move down. Sacramento Republic at third, and you draw? Is that what we're going with here?
Oh, wow.
Playing nice. We're going to have fun already. Indy 11 is interesting. Now, here's the thing about it that I have to preface. This is after week 1, so it's hard to account for secondary games being played. Indy didn't even play a second game. They had a bye week 2. Mark Lowry, thank you very much for your scheduling process. There's a lot to go on within this. The Tampa Bay Rowdies are giving you different looks. They've pretty much lost their entire front line. Their midfield is decimated. What you see now will be extremely different in a week's time, yet alone what goes on towards the end of the season.
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, I'm sure Mark is going to love that you're all in on his early scheduling when he has to play 5 in 11 days or some crazy situation in July, but that's neither here nor there. All right, we've got plenty more coming up here. It is Loudoun and San Antonio meeting in week 2, the USL Championship season. A busy Sunday around the league. Got to look back at news and notes from the league, first half highlights and more when we return to Virginia.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
Loudoun United Football Club leads San Antonio FC 1-0 at the half. Zach Ryan in the 35th minute. Glad he was our player spotlight. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr. Look at news and notes from around the USL Championship and beyond. It's different from last year, but I'm bringing it back. Wait till next week. Josh Winder called up to the U20s, Dev. You know, you and I chatted with some of the production team that did the Louisville-Monterey Bay game yesterday. We're talking about old U20s like, you know, his coach, Danny Cruz or Brian Ownby. Josh Winder has a realistic chance to go to the World Cup.
There's a bunch of guys from the USL Championship. Ocean Dina involved in that conversation as well from Orange County. Keep an eye on Josh Winder. If the rumors are true, you're not going to be able to see him much longer in USL Championship play. Douglas Martinez, an interesting acquisition for Indy 11 on that front line. They've assembled one of the better midfields, if not the best midfield in all the USL Championship. They've got more attackers defensively. Can they get it done? Douglas Martinez hopes that they can just add some statistics up top. And, of course, May 13th, Lou City, Miami FC. Let's have a little fun.
That'll be on ESPN2. All these games aired on ESPN+. Louisville down a man. Brian Ownby, to be fair, against Monterey Bay. Get it done. They get all 6 points in their California road trip. Detroit City, good goal from, Matthews, 3-1 over El Paso. Great news, Andre Lewis did leave the hospital late yesterday after suffering a scary facial injury against Colorado Springs.
Justin Portillo from the mark for New Mexico United in their first game of the season. Miami FC, they've got to figure out a way to get results at home. They were really good away from South Florida last year, but only 5 victories when they stayed.
Here's a look at what's coming up around the championship. We've got that big Phoenix game against San Diego kicking off here within the hour. RGV in Oakland will close out the night, and then we'll pick up again on Friday. First chance for Miami FC to get it right. You have to do it against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
And it may get even worse for a couple of these teams. El Paso Locomotive, who are winless in their first 2, has not gone kindly. They have to travel cross-conference to the Eastern Seaboard in Louisville City in the Eastern Conference. And how about Sacramento Republic and San Diego Loyal? Really excited to see what those 2 teams look like. They've revamped themselves a little bit. Nate Miller has taken the reins from Landon Donovan in the head coaching position. Mark Briggs has added some new names to the list of the team that went to the Open Cup final. Plenty on the list for USL Championship play over the next couple of days.
All right, these 2 sides with a bunch of new names. And last year, it was just a 2-1 game between these sides. But right now, Loudoun ahead at the half. A long way to go. Loudoun 1, San Antonio nothing. Highlights, second half coming up.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
Welcome back to the USL Championship on ESPN+. Loudoun 1, San Antonio nothing, and the fans in warm winter coats. In short time, it'll be 80s and sunny and perfect weather to come out. Glad some still brave the elements on this cloudless day. Dev, things almost got a little cloudy here for San Antonio in the first 15 minutes. They deal with an injury to PC. And this opportunity, too.
They actually had quite a high line, lots of pressure, not a lot of chances to show for it, though. Loudoun, on the other hand, right back at it as they were against 901 FC in Week 1 in their 3-1 victory. Zach Ryan back to work this side. You're going to look on the left flank, and they're going to look for Khalil Almedkar. I love how tactful they've become with their touches. This is a team that can push the tempo. They've also been able to spread themselves thin. They can condense the middle. We really haven't seen it all in the past worked up together. That's what you get in the opening 30 minutes, but the reigning champs not to be undone. Good ball movement, direct in nature. Mohamed Abu, not necessarily the one that you're looking for to get on the tail end of this, though.
So Abu denied by Jacquemin. Skip ahead to the 35th minute. And these are danger moments for either side. It all collapses together, and it's Zach Ryan, the ultimate danger man, his third of the year.
The word that I used in the game was disjointed because we started to see a clear separation between the units. Goalkeeper 10 yards, defending 5, couple more yards, really 2 within the midfield, and then the front 3. San Antonio was scrambling all over the place. An excellent finish to the bottom corner by one of the new acquisitions by Ryan Martin and Zach Ryan. Look, they didn't have all of the shots, but they were more efficient in their ways. That's what San Antonio pride themselves on. They were unable to do it. Loudoun United gave a taste of their own medicine. You wonder what it would have been like to be a fly on the wall in the dressing room for San Antonio at halftime.
The stats were brought to you by Betfred. And the second half is underway. San Antonio trying to come from behind here at the break. Reigning USL Championship winner trying to avoid their first blemish of 2023. These sides I mentioned in the first half met last year. San Antonio won at home 2-1. Sam Adeniran scored twice. Moses Nyman scored for Loudoun United. And in total, San Antonio, 6 players who featured that game are available here today, including PC, who got injured. And for Loudoun, just 5. Well, this is quite an interesting free kick. It might almost be too close, but remember, it is directly into the wind as well.
Loudoun United really struggled with their own opportunities in the first half from situations such as this. The difference is, I would say that you don't necessarily have the same sort of marksman standing over the ball now. And that's because you've got guys like Nacho Bailoni, Mohamed Abu, who from this distance can be absolute wizards. Got to keep it low, though.
It'll be Bailoni! Well, he did make that interesting, and Jacquemin
San Antonio FC
appeared to have it covered, but it was tight.
Exiting the match, number 17, Carmarnie Smith.
Come on, help him!
Entering the match, number 27, Zico Bailey.
Zico Bailey came on, by the way, at halftime for Carmarnie Smith.
Notice how low he does keep it. This thing only comes about 4 or 5 yards up off the deck. Jacquemin's got to slide over quite rapidly to that left-hand shoulder.
Come on, Loudoun!
Dylan nearly breaking through.
Good header. Excellent. Come on, Loudoun!
Let's see how much the overall shape changes with Zico Bailey coming into the conversation. One of the boys in the red jerseys.
Bring it up!
Well done, because you did absolutely nothing.
Bailey's debut for the club.
I am. I will be ready when you ask for it. I'm not going to volunteer. Completely fucking it up.
How's that, by the way, for Alan Marcina to try and add numbers to the overall strength of this squad? Is there anybody better in the entire USL Championship, barring maybe Trevor James with Detroit City, of taking a talented individual, moving out of their comfort zone and making them almost an all-league player in another position? Connor Maloney, a real good representation of that for the team that took down the title last year. Left back, right back, wing back on other sides, moving into the 10. There's a ball.
El Medkar. And Batista snuffs it out. Tainter sends it away.
Justin Dillon, pretty much an out-and-out striker for most of his career at the stops that he's been at. He comes into San Antonio at one point in time last season, playing him as part of a three-man midfielder, almost as like an 8-type role in a holding midfielder position to help continue to push the tempo going forward, but also defensively being such a key focal point. And so you take a young man like Zico Bailey, who's looking for an opportunity. Spent most of his time on loan with FC Cincinnati too, but that's an out-and-out right back. Still very young though, at 22 years of age, won't be 23 until August. And Alan Marcinez says, you know what? We've got defensively plenty of depth in our eyes. Yes, we can move Zico Bailey there if we want to, but if we can find a hybrid type role for him, he's another piece to this puzzle that we can really take advantage of in the best of ways.
Santos. Armenakis. What a tackle.
Fans be on the lookout for Loudoun United items being tossed into the crowd, and let's get loud for your red and white.
Another look at Batista here. For a second there, I thought that siren was arbitrary, and now I'm glad to know that it's because they're dropping items into the crowd.
Is it food? Send some up here into the booth. Starving.
Look overhead, there's a thermos of chicken noodle soup coming right for you, Dev.
Bingo, the parachute's headed in my direction. Just need the claw to reach out and grab it.
Armenakis was working on Maloney, kept it alive. Santos and Farr kept it out of the net. Don't forget, of course, the whole ball has to be over the line, and while the goalkeeper's feet were behind it, that means nothing as to whether or not it's actually a goal.
One player was right there too, saying he was in he crossed the line. Absolutely. Did we get a VAR on that one?
You cannot get a VAR on that one, for what it's worth.
Advance vote for score number 2.
TV people, was he in?
I didn't see it, sorry.
I was wondering if you hear the commentators.
No, I'm super wide. No, they're not saying anything. That guy said that he was in. But
You're a rob. We'll take it.
So you can't hear the commentators from the studio?
I can. Let the gentleman know in row 3, seat ZZ, that we can hear you. Hope you can hear us, or at least you will in the replay when you get back home. And unfortunately for you, it looked like it did not cross the line, my good sir. The angle that we're privy to seems that Jordan Farr was smart in his body positioning. It did not cross all the way over.
Gonna hang up for a moment and get knocked out over the line. Throw here for San Antonio, trying to put their thumb back on the scale here. Head from Hayes. First round pick at Dallas, who spent the last 3 years at Minnesota United. Off the kneecap at Dillon. Came down to Hayes. Bailey chases. I can tell you there was, as Bailey takes over, a little disappointment in Cincinnati that the Bailey experiment didn't work out, if only because that's the long-known name of the area that the supporters sit in there.
First yellow?
Yellow comes out here to Cole Turner. It is the first yellow of the game.
I mean, that's just a foul, not a yellow.
Took us 53 minutes to get there for the former Philadelphia homegrown. Again, the yellow card is an interesting one. The difference is it's removing the ability for San Antonio to continue with numbers and space going forward, the pull from behind, and also right in front of our referee.
Up in the wind, header across, top of the 6, sent away toward Maloney. Divvies this forward again, down to Tainter. Tainter chipped it across and wins a corner. Dev, other than pure size, is there a reason San Antonio's done so well on set pieces historically?
Size is a key factor. I would go back to similar argument for open run of play. They're just really good at executing single plays. And, you know, sitting with Danny Cruz last year, they map out exactly what they're going to do. It's just difficult to defend. It's a back post ball like that. I call it a stunt that they run, where a lot of times you'll see Mitchell Tainter start either right around the penalty mark or just outside the top of the 18. And the idea behind it is they want him to almost have a pick set for him, and he peels off to the back post. Now, if he has the opportunity from a positioning standpoint to attack the goalkeeper, he will. Usually, though, you'll see him try and bring something back across. For a goalkeeper, it's an absolute nightmare. Trying to track the ball and then the redirect, still wondering whether or not the marks are coming from your runners. That's a very difficult task, and that's why they're so good.
Bailoni running central. Bailoni equalizes for San Antonio. Dillon put it right in his path, and a patient Bailoni bags his first of the year. And he may be the answer for San Antonio up front this season.
How's the splendid vision from Mohamed Abu? Beautifully done to get this thing to check up right in front of Justin Dillon, and then all the work, to be fair, after that. The English that's put on the ball for Justin Dillon to get it back across his body into the path of the trailing run of Nacho Bailoni. Absolutely incredible. What a recovery, a better start, and finally back to square one for San Antonio.
His 45th game for the club in the league. That is his 10th goal. And Loudoun concedes. It's the 8th straight game that San Antonio has scored in the second half. And now we find out a lot, Dev, don't we, about this reconstructed Loudoun team. We aren't going to find out any guaranteed truths from this game, but we may start to see a direction of the narrative moving forward. There was a lot going on after the fact here. Hayes being motioned away. Rocha and the referee are going to discuss this for a while.
Corey Hayes wasn't happy with this right here after the fact. Key point of emphasis for pro referees comes on restarts, and specifically the offending team or player after the infraction occurs. You know, juggling, moving it away from the team that's got the opportunity for the restart, impeding the run of play. Refs have really been given the opportunity to step in there, be very aggressive with those infractions, and penalize to the point of a quick card.
Oh, Loudoun! Come on, help him!
Armenakis, short of Aiden Rocha, the rookie out of Georgetown. That's a great Georgetown program, too. And they have picked off players from the Mid-Atlantic region to great effect for a long time. How many great Union players end up going through Georgetown at some point? Whisked over the top. Dillon, that's going to run. Justin Dillon. Jacquemin, a necessary save.
Come on, use it, Loudoun, use it! Let's go! Now, move it up!
One back by Bailoni. Abu. Dillon.
Don't you call that. Bring it out!
Abu there again. Joshua Encarnacion looked in, but the referee didn't toot his whistle.
Come on, use it!
Armenakis
Nice.
for El Medcar. Two options percolating. El Medcar crossing. Whisked upfield by Garcia. Santos delivers. Header from Rocha. Loudoun will pull it back out. Armenakis. Rocha. Santos. Maloney was there. Who got that last? Armenakis, a throw for Maloney. Wow, that is end-to-end stuff.
Just on the backside of it, Mohamed Abu seemed that he possibly picked up a little knock as it got sprayed over by the aforementioned Justin Dillon. Once again, the first touch on full display. He was the young man who dished it out to Angel Miloni in the 55th minute for the equalizer for San Antonio. Right back to work, very active here in the second half on that front line.
Dillon, Jacquemin again. After Shannon Gomez fed that in to Dillon, who's now down.
Oh, come on. It's because he missed the shot. Give him a pillow.
I think he may have gotten
Watch his
nicked
ankle.
by the turf monster
Yeah,
here.
watch the way that he turns to come across his body right here. It seemed like his left foot came out from underneath him a little bit as he came back across. I'm with you, Mike. There's not going to be a ton in it, and yet still, sometimes those are the worst stingers.
Come on, Loudoun.
Just sort of steps a little raw there, doesn't he?
And look, as far as turf goes in the championship, this is fairly new, all things considered. They take good care of it here in Loudoun County. However, it's always going to react different than what they've been training on the entirety of preseason. Even moments in that first half, balls were checking up that they struggled to deal with. That one finally ran. It's almost like taking out a 9-iron and trying to place something on the green and putting the right spin on it. Bailoni. Header away, quaffed inside. And Ryan had to come back to try and hold up play for Loudoun as we cross the hour mark. Well, you never try and check up with a 9-iron?
Nah, more of a bump and run guy. Choke down on the 6 and let it ride.
Okay. From an offside position. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+. It's the home of the USL, MLS, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today, plus.espn.com. Partnership with USL and ESPN continues this year. It's been in place since 2015. That championship final between Galaxy 2 and the Rochester Rhinos. RIP again to the Rhinos, it turns out. Rocha, Santos, all the way across. Armanakis a little slow to react. This is going to angle a goal, and Landry puts that right on far. Both these teams have
Come on, Loudoun.
the edition of Open Cup coming at the end of the month. Inaugural Open Cup match for Loudoun United, and of all teams to get paired with, it's NCFC. It's Ryan sent to the pellets. Later tonight, San Diego and Phoenix. Just starting to get a feel for what this new look Phoenix team could be under Juan Guerra's full tutelage.
I'm sure given the history between those two, it'll probably be an uneventful affair.
Oh, sure.
Over under on goals, cards, and dust-ups.
You know, there's so many faces that have changed with Phoenix. I do actually question whether or not it's all going to carry over. Some of it will. Bryce Washington's come on sub, brought to you by Sagra.
Entering the match,
time at Rutgers and then eventually at Pitt. You know, if Loudoun does this right, they could be a really good phone call with Pitt moving forward for some of those really talented collegiate players that eventually hit free agency. I know you're high on Learman, and so too is Jay Vidovich. Into the width here, and Farr collects with ease.
And a friendly reminder that Cole Turner, not only a center back, but a holding midfielder in his own right. He'll be bumped up into the midfield, which will allow Bryce Washington to be paired with Giannis Learman. And to your point, it's the relationship between Ryan Martin and Jay Vidovich that goes back for the better portion of, you know, a decade and a half. Ryan Martin, of course, one of the men who was part of a national championship, Wake Forest Demon Deacons, back in the mid-2000s, and they've produced so much talent and so many good seasons over the years. But when you look at Giannis Learman on the back line, Jay Vidovich leaves Wake Forest, ends up now the head coach of the Pitt Panthers, and that's where these two, Ryan Martin and Jay Vidovich, stay together. Learman comes in. The coach was very high on him.
But Maloney charging, and there's Jockman.
But how does that look overall comparative to what's been there in seasons past? Well, he went so far as to say in the conversation, Jay Vidovich, with Ryan Martin, that he says that Iko Para and Michael Parkhurst, those are really the two best center backs he's ever had. The third, Giannis Learman. So he's right there with some of the greats in MLS history.
Rolled through by Maloney at the feet of Dillon. Had Bailey running through the middle as well. Now Bialoni, the late runner. Maloney kept it moving. Dillon, and there's Washington. I mean, you're talking about two genuine MLS legends.
Is at the 75th minute.
That's really good company for Learman.
He's got all the tools. 6'2", fleet of foot, extremely impressive in one-on-one defending. That's any argument you're going to hear from a coach. Is that's great that he's good in the air and he can run an open field, but what does he look like being that tall from a center spot, having to go in one-on-one situations? He answers the call.
Bouncing ball top of the box, miss hit, and lost by Hayes. Covered him in Pitt, right? And all the way up to College Cup.
A ton. I was a big fan of his. And it was even more impressive to me because that's a team that has had so much success, the Pitt Panthers. You know, 2020 College Cup, they went back to it again this year. Watch out.
Turned over by Loney, overlap arrives Batista. Banged off of the hip of Batista now.
When you discuss talent, though, overall, and this directly relates to Giannis Learman for Loudoun United, number 5 right there on your screen, I look at leadership on the back line. And for a guy that walked into a system transferring from UCF and the Golden Knights, he had a new goalkeeper, new left back, new left center back, new right back. That's a whole new defensive shape that Jay Vidovich had to employ, yet alone everybody to gel together. And yet he was one of the reasons why it looked so seamless at times. Now, certainly growing pains, but he was one of the key cogs in that allowed them to be so good, be so successful, and find their way into the College Cup as one of the best 4 teams in NCAA Division I this season again. The other, by the way, Jackson Gilman, who was also a Philadelphia Union product.
Yeah.
Some in the water up there, or snow.
Did Arturo Ordonez Pitt?
He was the Pitt guy as well.
Yeah, ended up with the Riverhounds, so there's a little competition now for some Panthers.
Well, the recruiting front for Bob Lilly, it's a little bit easier when you got to go up the hill about 2 miles as opposed to across the country.
Snared by a leaping Jordan Farr. Farr knows to get this thing as far away from goal as possible and let Dillon rumble. Didn't play on that occasion. If you're Washington, you're stepping into this game, and second appearance both off the bench this year, and you're dealing with Justin Dillon. That from Abu, wow. And Santos clears back up the gut. Maloney struck for goal. That's a simple bouncer that Jockman is happy to take in comfortably.
It's better, though, from San Antonio. Mohamed Abu, his role has been interesting today as they push him in. He's really been the aggressor between he and Ja'Cory Hayes, coming up high, trying to find a way to almost play an 8-10 type pivot right there. And with Zico Bailey coming in on the right side, can they play off of each other? It's a little congested at times, but they are starting to advance their troops higher.
Hayes. Gomez.
Bring it up, Loudoun, bring it up.
Tried to bring it out. There's Mahoney.
Get in front.
By Loney. I'll give Cole Turner a lot of credit. Versatility in the course of this game, and he's able to track back, cover some ground, knock it out for a corner. Abu. Or by Loney.
It's your ball. Come on, Loudoun.
Wheeled away from Armanakis.
That's expensive equipment.
Batista and Williamson tangled.
Come on, Loudoun.
Good from Turner.
Come on, Loudoun. Come on.
Everybody got corkscrewed in the back line, twisting for that ball.
That's it.
Armanakis spins around Santos. Bailey got stiff-armed by Rocha.
Bring it on.
Armanakis leading down the line. Plenty of contact. It stays alive. An attempt to take it out of the air by Williamson, who continues to chase, and Abu out and over the top. Heavy touch. Ricochets off by Loney. Dillon. Dillon for Bailoni. Save, Jockman. Rolled back in, it already gotten out. Corner, San Antonio.
Fans, for your chance to receive autographs.
Certainly answers the call here. Great recovery by Mohamed Abu on one end and then springs the attack going the other direction. For everything that was the greatness, and Yanis Learman, we just spoke about coming out of pit. He's got to be better. You got to clean that up because you gifted opportunity right to San Antonio. Right back to him. Runners up high, and almost a second on the night for Bailoni.
Abu. Sun's going directly down over those stands, by the way. It's not the easiest place to try and take corner. There is zero cloud cover today. The shadows are only just beginning to encroach over this near touchline.
Come on, Loudoun! Let's go, boys! Come on!
Santos will slow it down. You know, Dev, with San Antonio, I think it's very clear. Back-to-back or bust. We know what the expectations are under Alan Marcina because they've already achieved them. They've brought back a lot of the pieces, not all of them. Cleared away by Garcia. I don't know if there's a greater wild card this year than Loudoun. Santos across. Samake has support in the width. Medkar, Samake, and out for a goal kick. Where do you put Loudoun's chances this year of trying to make the postseason, first year under new ownership, and just what the anticipation for fans should be? Well, San Antonio's turned this thing upfield in no time flat.
The issue you're going to run into for Loudoun United is going to be depth, at least with the current construct of this 2023 build. There's no doubt about it, given what you've seen here this afternoon so far, that they can compete with the best in the entire USL Championship. But can you do it week in and week out, short rest, mix in some Open Cup fixtures? How does that look like in a couple of weeks' time when these guys start to get a little bit tired? So I question the depth overall. Certainly not the talent level. In San Antonio, you talked about another title or bust. There's only a couple of teams in the entire league that can carry those sort of aspirations.
Grabbed by far, I mean, Louisville, Tampa Bay, Phoenix in the past has been in that conversation. I would argue San Diego is getting to that point where making the playoffs isn't enough anymore.
Let's be clear, everybody wants to win a title. We get that. Like, why even play? But the real, like, the odds-on favorites, right? Let's put it that way. Every single season.
If you don't win a trophy, it's a disappointment for certain teams.
Even more so than others, correct. And moving San Antonio in 5 in the league, you know?
Yeah.
6 maybe at a stretch.
Out of 24.
Watch here. That's a
dangerous scissoring tackle from Santos. He's going to be really lucky to walk away with nothing here, isn't he?
Well, this stretch right now with 15 minutes to go, just sort of losing their shape a little bit. That trailing leg from Koa Santos on Nacho has left a mark for sure. 15 minutes to go. Ryan Martin, some direction to his guys on the field of play right now and try and find a way to continue to extend this game. You're going to hear very similar sentiments coming from Alan Marcina and San Antonio's technical area because they just don't have any depth at all. We can question what the talent pool looks like when you start to extend itself throughout a match and over the course of the season for Loudoun, but right now, in this 90 minutes, San Antonio's up against it. I'd be very surprised to see Alan Marcina go to any of the academy players down the stretch here.
Abu.
Good play. That was a target. He
Gomez.
Referee, what are you watching? Not the game.
Garcia. Oh, what a leading touch. Samake could get no further. All right, here are the changes for Loudoun. What do you make of them, Dev? There's a DC United player that I think Loudoun fans are very familiar with that's first in.
Jeremy Gray trying to find his way to Wayne Rooney's team sheet selection. It's going to take some time to get there. Under the tutelage of Ryan Martin, very capable. Let's see what they do with the shape here because we've seen this sub previously. You bring Jeremy Gray in for Tommy Williamson. It sort of tweaks it a little bit, can play as a false 9. It also drops down into the midfield. You've got a couple of midfielders that start to move together. And then for Zane, that's simple. That's a like for like out on the left-hand side. Not as technical of a player as Khalil El-Medkar, but a little bit more pace to his liking. He can help stretch this game, and inside 15 minutes to go, tired legs from San Antonio at the wingback position. It's an area that you're looking to attack.
Subs are brought to you by Segra. They come with less than 15 on the clock. Back to Jockeman, just the one game for Loudoun last year, and he gets the call in the home opener after Hugo Farrell opened the proceedings in a 3-1 game against Memphis last week. Farrell not in the 18 today. Play on, Bailey. now the foul. So which contact are they going to bring it back to? Dylan is going to have the athletic training staff called out to him. He's going to have to come off the field because no card was issued this ensuing set piece.
Oh, he's cramped again.
I mean, surely you'd rather have the much closer free kick, although it's right on the edge of the area there.
Yeah, just that left elbow extends out a little bit against Justin Dillon. That looks like it might have created contact. The concern is going to be is whether or not it was a head injury, because the view that we had in front of us, and the arm comes up, you see it come to the backside. Was it his neck or was it his head? And then he fell quite gingerly. Remember, same player that had an issue with his ankle just after the goal. And saw Nacho equalize. Takes a knock there, and he did catch the backside of his head.
So bad. He was hurt before he was touched. Oh my God. Get your bananas. He's cramping his hand. Oh God.
No snowboarding. They closed it already. They said there were too many warm days. They're like, they were like,
Let it go, Levin. You're tough, baby. Come back. Woo!
Well, that's got Fernandez up and about right now for San Antonio. They really don't have any options off the bench other than dipping into the academy players that they've brought along. Don't get me wrong, San Antonio does the pro academy right, but not sure this was the scenario you're really expecting to see them placed into the game under normal circumstances. Nevertheless, Abu's over the ball. Abu, header snapped in front, wasn't there from Batista.
Get organized!
It is what it is. It is what it is. Nah.
Still got those skis.
Maybe for the grandkids, you know? Maybe they can use them.
Fans, keep your eyes open for Loudoun United items being tossed into the crowd, and let's show your red and white some support.
Let's go!
That's a huge collision. Dylan's returned and immediately gets whacked.
Those things break so easily because I have a friend that still has their.
You know, Dev, it'd be really fun to see this Loudoun team start to pile some home results and get the fans here excited about what they're doing. 1-1 with the reigning league champ. They had the lead. San Antonio has come from behind here in the second half to equalize through Ignacio Bailoni.
Starting last season! Go on, Loudoun! Let's go! Come on, man.
There's Farr.
It's like TV. I'm so afraid of hiding this.
Bailoni.
You only replace it because you didn't really need to because you wanted to. Now it's like you have to. They break after 2 or 3 years. What? What did I pay for? Because they're perfectly fine.
Turner and Samake combined, but still it's San Antonio. Good chance it'll be this way for the remainder of this. And Bailoni bails out Washington, and Loudoun gives them a bit of a respite. Baco Craig leads Miami FC into Kentucky to face Josh Winder, we think, and the reigning Eastern Conference winners, Louisville City FC. Don't miss the start of the new season, USL on ESPN, Saturday, May 13th, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Well, if you read the rumors, Josh Winder may be in bubble wrap by then and off to his next adventure. Header will sail over the top from Bailey. I think Cam Lancaster will still be there, though. Maybe
the hope.
10, 15,000.
That's the hope for sure. Healthy, scoring goals. I'm sure Danny Cruz has that type of vision in his head.
Well, what an impressive start for them on the road. Is that the most impressive start you've seen from a team to go 2,000 miles west and grab the 2 victories away? I'd say San Antonio picked up right where they left off against Oakland, just took all the air out of the roots at home. That has to be up there.
Use it!
Armenakis.
Come on, Loudoun!
Santos could get no closer.
It's very easy for me to say yes, but we don't often see an east to west like that, at least at the beginning of the year.
Actually stayed out there, did a 10-day trip out to California. It's almost like, you don't want to say a second preseason, but Santos curling. Back out to Hayes. Hayes sends this flying by Loney, overtaken, and now he comes up with a limp. San Antonio is going to be wounded getting on the plane tonight. Slicing back at the end line. Santos to the backside for a diving header. Zane unable to deliver what would have been a magical goal for Loudoun.
How's the ball from Koa Santos, though? He was extremely talked about leading into the 2022 MLS Super Draft. His right foot, great service. That's the first player from Hawaii to play men's soccer in the Pac-12. You can see why for good reason. San Diego State, not as many statistics as you would think. Only 3 assists over 58 appearances, but certainly put that one on a platter. Really good vision. I like his relationship that he's worked into in the first 2 matches with Panos Armenakis on this left-hand side. Very impressive.
You know, we've seen some unknown guys, and maybe Armenakis is the next. I mean, Orange County and Oakland in the last 5 years have brought guys over from Europe that no one had ever heard of and bagged 18, 20 goals. I don't know that Armenakis is going to be the goal scorer, but he might be the spark. In theory, if Ryan or Williamson have double-digit goals, Armenakis is going to be there on double-digit assists, the way it's playing out. This is going to be a corner for San Antonio with 2.5 and stoppage time to go.
Ryan, do you want it now? No, not now. Not now. Pen or allowed it.
Abu.
Clear it, yeah. Come on, Loudoun.
Take a shot, 22. Go ahead. Good.
Abu dummies that straight out of play. And Ryan Martin dips into his bench for the last time. Wesley Leggett, who turned 22 just 3 days ago out of St. John's. Last handful of seasons, replaces Armenakis. Sub brought to you by Segra.
Panos Armenakis. Entering the match, number 14, Wesley Leggett.
On 14.
All substitutions are brought to you by Segra.
Well, he just kicked this away as well. And the little step up over the top. Careful if you're Lamar Batista, you're just asking for it from the referee.
If you're on a 25-day contract and nothing was guaranteed, Dev, admit it, you would have gotten a yellow card accumulation suspension before you were even gone.
Yeah, there you go. Know me all too well.
I'm doing the math, is that even possible? Rocha. Slide in to keep it off the foot of Bailey.
Come on, Loudoun!
Samake with Zane.
Come on!
In toward Turner. Loudoun conceded some goals late in games last year that had Ryan Martin with a full head of hair ready to take some strands out.
Bring it up! Come on, Loudoun, bring it up!
Over the top, there's the offside flag. Lest we forget, San Antonio is not a team to be trifled with in stoppage time. 3 added minutes.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time added to the end of the second half. 3 minutes. Stoppage time is brought to you by Novak.
All right, Loudoun! Come on, Loudoun! Let's finish this! What?
Whoa!
Are you kidding?
That's a straight red. Zach Ryan pushed off on the referee Encarnacion, and that is a major lack of concentration at minimum.
The referee assaulted our player!
It's an absolute no-no. No matter the position, the place, or time of match, you can't do this. You cannot put your hands on a referee. Never put yourself in that situation. He gets caught up in the moment. It's a young professional that has just put his team in the hottest of waters.
A red card has been
So good in the first 2 matches. Zach Ryan, 2 goals and an assist week 1. Repaid the favor again tonight in the 35th minute, courtesy of Armanakis, and now all of a sudden has put his team down to 10 men with just a couple of minutes left.
And Zach Ryan, his second year as a pro out of Stanford, that is uncharacteristic. And really, it looked worse in real time. But nevertheless, no question, 2 hands out. It looked like he'd extended maybe a bit further. It's all irrelevant now. The red card leaves Loudoun down to 10. And San Antonio has some wind in their sails with about 2 minutes to play, in theory. Although if there's a player to lose with a minute and a half left, trying to protect a point at home against a team that was favored, it's probably your striker.
I'm going to tell Ryan Martin that. See how that goes over.
True enough.
Come on, Loudoun!
Santos. Well, it's Loudoun trying to get the extra pair of points here at home. Santos. We may lose 2 perfect teams in this game. We're seconds from that possibility. Zane turns.
Oh, come on!
Was offside. And one last chance maybe for San Antonio. The red card came in stoppage time. We may go beyond the 93.
I mean, you can stand there all you want. You just can't receive it.
Come on, Loudoun! Just keep it, keep it! Stop ball!
Now or never. Get a winner.
3 minutes, ref. 3 minutes. Good play. Good play.
All the way back to Jacquemin.
That's a die!
Bailoni wins a free kick. San Antonio can throw numbers forward. Any concern, Dev, about throwing everything up now?
You'd have to imagine, even with the card, that this is probably going to be the last sequence of the game.
Get off, ref!
Abu. Header steered down. That's Samake. Down to Gomez.
That's what I hate about it. 15 minutes? Yeah, they're like, oh, we could give another 59 seconds. I'm like, what? Since when did we start doing that?
And that might be it.
Since FIFA said we want to play every single second.
That is it. Loudoun reduced to 10 at the end. They concede the lead. Zach Ryan in the 35th. It's Nacho Bailoni in the 55th that helps San Antonio salvage a result on the road. San Antonio 1, Loudoun United 1.
Tonight's final score is the official.
Let's take a look at today's save of the game. It's brought to you by Segra, and it comes from Dane Jacquemin in his first start of the year.
It's a bad turnover coming off the back line. This was the wave of attacks from San Antonio at the start of the second half. A little bit slow in decision-making by Justin Dillon, but after it makes its way out here, still a ton of work to be done. Notice the footwork, the shoulder positioning, perfectly squared up to allow yourself as a goalkeeper to make a textbook save. Makes it look so easy, Dane Jacquemin.
All right, we will take a look at the full-time highlights in the post-game show presented by Segra. After a quick break, Loudoun United and San Antonio split the spoils, one to the cutting room floor. And two sides fall out of perfection in week 2. Highlights coming up.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
Loudoun United, San Antonio FC meeting up for the second time in their histories. A 2-1 San Antonio win last year, this time a 1-1 draw in Leesburg. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr. Let's wrap this one up in the post-match report brought to you by Segra. Full-time highlights, we start with the goal. 35th minute, Zach Ryan wouldn't finish the game on the field, but he certainly finished decent look here after Loudoun had created a couple in the first half.
Really good technique by Zach Ryan. He doesn't continue his run forward. If you notice, it's at a diagonal. It stretches the back line away, but it allows himself to curl his run so that when it does come through, positive first touch, back of the net, and it's 1-0. Response, San Antonio coming out of the dressing room. Mohamed Abu was very active in the second half. He wins the ball, plays a great one down into the corner, and then you have to rely on Justin Dillon. He's blinded in this situation. He had peeked over the right-hand shoulder, saw the trailing run of Nacho Bailoni, and as it comes square back across, his touch into the bottom corner, and we are back to 1-1.
And then it became a case of who could find a winner. This is Dillon over the top. Ended up being a save-of-the-game caliber effort. to lean down and pull that in by Jockman. Skip ahead to the 72nd minute. It would still be Dillon on the run.
The wave in terms of attacking prowess certainly was in favor of San Antonio in the second half, at least for the majority. That is your save of the game from Dame Jockman. Good slide over, little paw, pushes it aside. Even though it went to the corner a ton, they were able to push it away. Very impressive defensively from Loudoun. On the offensive side of things, would have liked to have seen them better in transition. Build-up play, great, but open field, they really struggled with the physical side. It's not too surprising, but that's an area they're going to have to focus on, and the mental aspect of it. When things aren't going your way, when you're frustrated, even though it's towards an opposing player, never let that get into your brain and disrupt the flow of your thought process. That's exactly what plays out for Zach Ryan. He gets sent packing early because of his contact with our head referee.
And there's a look at the full-time match stats, and Dev San Antonio created enough, but they didn't end up getting the victory here. Who would have thunk that there'd be a Great Dane in this league that wasn't scoring goals, but rather protecting one?
I see what you did there. Good for you. Very impressive this late on a Sunday. It does remind me statistically for San Antonio, the numbers game. They don't care how many times they knock it down there. They don't care how many times they're going to chase you. 20, 30 efforts moving forward. All they need to do is hit the target once. They were able to salvage a point tonight, grab a goal, and get out of town.
That's what we'll do too, as Loudoun and San Antonio end up with a point apiece. A 1-1 draw in Leesburg tonight. Thanks for watching the post-game show presented by Segra for Loudoun United. They'll go to FC Tulsa next weekend and then host Colorado Springs. That ain't no joke on April 1st. For Devin Kerr, our entire team, Mike Watts saying so long. Loudoun 1, San Antonio 1 for this Sunday matinee.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
From behind. And now Armanakis. There's space again, Ryan.